Guest tonight, ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi. Thank you so much for making time for the big question tonight.
Thank you.
Keep talking to us. The hashtag is the big question, and we'll start right away to put matters into context. Let's take a look at the 2013 presidential election result. Uhuru Kenyatta there was with 6.1 million. We also had Raila Odinga 5.3 million. Musalia Mudavadi was third. He had just over 480,000 votes. And let's take a look at what you've been saying on Twitter. Right, on Twitter we have Honorable Anangwe. Honorable Mudavadi is the most qualified presidential candidate Kenyans can vote in and bank on. Never tribal, never bitter, never revengeful. Deno says no, he has not consolidated his stronghold, that is Western Kenya, which gives him a false start. He'll respond to that. Nathan Aurora, is Mudavadi ready to support another presidential candidate? He'll respond to that. Ian Bugwa says, yes, why does he waste time in politics? He did not join voluntarily. He was thrust in because of his dad. Many people talking about Mudavadi's personality. We'll also ask him that. And Malo Hajir, my question to Amani leader, is there any deal that you have reached with the CORD coalition? And that is where I'll begin, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. You've been quoted as saying you're ready to work with the CORD coalition. Are you working with them? Are you ready to work with the CORD coalition?
Let me put it this way, that there's been a lot of speculation, and I think I need to correct this.
Right.
ANC is an opposition party, and CORD is a separate coalition that is also in opposition.
Right.
Now, what I did say is that there are certain issues where we may have convergence in terms of policy as opposition parties. And on that basis, we can work together.
Yeah.
This is what I said. But some people may have construed it to mean that ANC
is now working with CORD.
is joining or has moved into CORD. So I want to make that very clear that that is not the issue. But we can work on matters of policy and principle.
Are there any issues that you have seen already that you can work with CORD about?
I think if I just go back to what is topical now, like the IEBC. Right. We wanted a reform of the IEBC. We wanted it changed, and we wanted the election laws looked at afresh. This is something that CORD also was advocating for. So these are some of the issues that I believe we can always have a convergence of mind. We may not have agreed in terms of the approach where they had the street demonstrations, right, but in terms of the objective, there was concurrence.
Right. I'm talking about going forward, the plan for 2017 and the vision they have as the opposition.
Let me put it this way.
Is there anything you're going to...
I think we also have to be a bit realistic here. All the political formations come 2017 have not yet been seen. I think we are yet to see the political formations coming through. Because as it stands now, these are largely political formations that were there in the build-up to the 2013 election. Yeah. So the formations that are likely to appear come 2017 are yet to be consummated. And
you do not, by saying that, you do not rule out that you could be in any formation?
We could work with other politicians, but ANC is a party that is fully registered, and our target is to make sure that we consolidate our position and grow the membership of the party. Right.
Again, there's been talk that, you know, CORD is talking to you, and first I'll actually want to ask you if you've met Raila Odinga recently. It's also talk that you met Raila Odinga in Pennsylvania in the US during the Democratic National Convention. There's been talk that CORD can actually you know, put you as a flag bearer or front you as a flag bearer. What would you say of such an arrangement?
First of all, let me put it this way, that yes, we did meet in Pennsylvania with Honorable Raila. He was an invitee to the Democratic Convention. So was I, and other people as well, like Martha Karua, Sakaja, and Laboso. Now, as Kenyans, you had an opportunity in a foreign land to mingle and talk on a number of issues. And I can tell you that our discussion, when we were there, focused largely on the future of the IEBC. And then, of course, we were reviewing the events of the Democratic Party. So there is a perception, I don't know where it's originating from, that there was some secret side discussion.
So you're saying
this did not take place.
It has never happened?
It did not happen.
And it hasn't happened in Kenya?
It has not happened in Kenya.
Okay.
But of course, as Kenyan politicians, we did agree that when we get back home, we shall continue discussing.
Okay, I'll ask you a specific question before we move forward to other questions.
Yes.
There's been talk that CORD could front you as the flag bearer. What would you say of such an arrangement?
First of all, let me put it this way. I don't want a free ride, and I don't want free things. I'm here to build ANC, to consolidate, and if it were in a situation where members of that coalition thought that they would want to support me, then who would I be to say no? I would say thank you for your support. That would be very good. But I want to make it very clear that this is a competitive process and I'm not looking for a free ride.
Right, but if they support you, you're saying you'll take it.
If they support me, I think it will be a welcome move.
Would you say the same of the Jubilee Coalition? It's in the public domain that you are supposed to be the presidential candidate in 2012, and within a short time again, President Uhuru and Deputy President William Ruto, then of course vying under Jubilee, turned around and disowned the whole thing. First, before I even ask you whether you can work with Jubilee, have you ever talked to them about it?
That is water under the bridge. I don't even talk about it. I don't even refer to it.
Right.
Most of the time it is referred to me by the media who keep on going back into this particular issue. Right. I would like them to support me in barring that particular chapter. let's put it this way.
Yes.
That would be fantasy.
Fine, but it happened and it was a big deal politically in the country. And the question is, did you ever have a discussion with them after that to know why they changed their minds? Was there such a discussion?
What was I going to gain from that? Because it was so clear that they had reneged on a particular position. So why would I waste my time? I just went head on and I continued campaigning. And that is what happened in 2013.
Do you still have a problem with them because of what they did?
No. I think the only thing that is there is that this is a political issue and it's a question of us waiting for the next round, which is 2017, and let people vote. If people have confidence in them, that is up to them.
Right.
But it's not something that I want to dwell on because it does not add value anymore to my political career.
Okay, you have been quoted as saying this, and when you say this is now you throwing the gauntlet. You can deny or confirm that one common objective is to remove Jubilee from power in 2017.
That's it.
So, meaning you're not going to work with the Jubilee Party in 2017?
No.
Not at all?
No. I mean, if the elections are about getting to that position, CORD is not in that position, ANC is not in that position, the people in power are Jubilee, so they're the ones to be removed.
But if the election is going to get that position, you mean the presidency, isn't it?
Government.
Right.
Yeah, ANC is not, I mean, an election is not just the presidential, these are general elections.
Yes.
So it is both presidential and general elections.
Yes.
So the idea is that you are voting so that a new government...
Into government. But you can...
Not to get into government, to form government.
Form the government, fine. Yes. You can also form the government as a coalition with the Jubilee Party. That is why I'm asking.
No.
Nothing about it.
It won't happen.
But you're saying if CORD support you, you wouldn't mind?
If CORD supported me, I wouldn't mind.
You wouldn't mind. Okay. The political situation in Western Kenya, and first before I go to that, there was a tweet here, somebody saying, is Mudavadi first of all going for the presidency? Just to confirm for that yes. For them.
Yes, I am.
You're going for the presidency?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at what happened in 2013 elections. The numbers you had, and where these numbers were coming from, the majority of these numbers, if we can take a look at that. Like we said, we had about 480,000 votes coming in third, that is the presidential election results, and you can look at that. 483,000 votes. Trans Nzoia, you had 24,000 votes. In Bungoma, you had 107,868 votes. In Busia County, 18,608. And Kakamega County, 144,962. And finally, in Vihiga County, 82,426. Why these counties? Because the total of these 5 counties was 378,000. The difference, the rest of the country, she had 335,000. Many, again, we'll talk about 2 things here. One, you seem to get more of your votes from that region. yet you want to be the president of the whole of the republic. And still again, in that region, you did not get as many votes as Raila Odinga, for example, who got about almost 800,000 in all those counties. And there was a question on Twitter of somebody saying, first of all, you need to consolidate your voting bloc before you, I mean, it's the tradition in this country. Many people who get to power, many people who form government, consolidate their voting bloc first. How do you do that?
Well, I think what is important here is that, first of all, I should not be discouraged by numbers. And if you go back into Kenya's political history, you will find that even when the likes of Honorable Raila and others contested for the first time, they were within the same range. And over time, his numbers grew. So equally, I see myself making sure that I will have sufficient numbers, grow my numbers, until I can win that election. Now, the point I want to say is that getting a traditional bloc or base as a stronghold is not unique to the people of Western Kenya. That is what happens to Uhuru. That is what happens to Raila himself.
In terms of Western?
No, even in terms of Nyanza. They start that way. And Uhuru's in central Kenya.
Right.
And when it was the time of Moi in Rift Valley when he was contesting, that is where he always had his strong base. So this is not a unique voting pattern from the Kenyan people. But it is unique. And this is where the people of Western Kenya need to be respected and perhaps given a medal like Rudisha for actually practicing genuine democracy. Because it is only in Western Kenya that you see a situation where people have been voting and they vote to be able to even vote for somebody who is not necessarily born in that region. I think that is what we should be seeing in the rest of the country. So that we are not confined into this voting as a bloc.
Right. Sadly, that is
on an ethnic
and sadly, that is how this country votes.
Sadly,
that is where you got most of your votes.
Now,
that is a part in
and now, this is why there is a lot of jitters. This is why there are a lot of jitters when they talk about what is happening in Western
Kenya.
Because the Western people are saying, look, we have been too good to the rest of the Kenya for too long. Now they want to debunk this myth. They want to get away from this notion, and this is why they are coalescing to come out strongly this time around.
So if Raila Odinga got over 800, almost 800,000 votes in those countries that we've mentioned in Western Kenya, you got about 350-something thousand votes. The question is, have you first solidified your bloc?
We are working on that. That is why we are out here promoting the ANC political party, and I can tell you, you will see a very big difference this election.
Right. What about the rest of the country?
We are moving
105,000 votes.
We are rolling out in other parts of the country. By the way, you must look at it this way. When I did campaign, people forget that my candidate took the Lamu governorship. We took a seat in the Tana River. We got another parliamentary seat in Marsabit. We even got a parliamentary seat in Lamu. So in terms of the outreach, we have so many people who voted with me as MCAs, about 100 MCAs scattered all over the country. So this is a process, it's a build-up, and it is not a one-off thing. And we're working on it.
We'll see how that goes. But this is a sad thing that you and I are talking about this country. You have, and I really want to know how you look at this. And I mean, it's a puzzle, and how you handle it as a politician and as Musalia Mudavadi. You need a voting bloc, a solid voting bloc from your own region. And the same way you're saying, that is also being ethnic, isn't it? How do you do that? I mean, how do you try and get your voting bloc and still not look ethnic, and you still want to be the president of the country?
It's the contradiction, all right? You cannot deny these people to vote the way they want to vote. And if they choose to vote for me, they should not be condemned as being ethnic, because at the same time, the ones who vote from Central, if they vote for their person, that's okay. I think what is important is, at the end of the day, is how we then unite the country and integrate as a country.
But then you're the one who's just said that getting the Western bloc is important, and having them unite is very important.
Yes, it
goes against what you're saying right now.
No, it does not go against it. All I'm saying is that they may now choose, and I wish they would choose, to vote differently.
How would you want them to vote? How do you want
I would want them to vote more purposefully. I would want them to vote right now to also be able to realize that we have entered a different era of politics, where the issue of the community and the strength of the community is an important issue. So we need to realize that. The other communities have realized it before.
Voting as a bloc?
Yes.
Okay. The question is how fast there's been this movement, Mulembe movement. I don't know where you stand with it. Would you also want the same thing to be realized in Western? You said actually, you said you want them to vote as a bloc. Do you support the move by Ababuna Mwamba and the team?
You know there are different lobby movements that may come up. Ababuna Mwamba is in the ODM party, but he has indicated that he wants to change alliances. I have talked to him. He's yet to make his decision, but I also told him that ANC would be available if he wants to join, but that is his decision. Okay,
but in terms of uniting Western Kenya, what he's saying and what you're saying is the same.
In terms of uniting, I don't know what
he's calling for a movement, a voting bloc, so that you can be able to have a stronger bargaining position. I think
what is on that point there could be some commonality, that we are asking our people to wisen up and study the voting patterns of other regions in this country, and also take a cue from there, and then learn to vote, and with the strength of their vote, be able to leverage with other Kenyans.
All right, so are you working, or are you going to work with him on that?
All I can tell you is that I am sympathetic to Ababu's dilemma, but he's in his own party. I'm building ANC, and our focus is to build the ANC political party.
And we have seen meetings, last week actually 2 meetings, between you and CODCO Principal Moses Otangula and Kakamega Center Boni Khalwale. We also hear Community MP Chris Wamalwa was there. What was the intention? What was going on?
No, I didn't see Chris Wamalwa. I think the meeting we had was just Khalwale
and Otangula,
Jirongo and Watangula.
What was the intention of the meeting?
This is
something you're cooking up?
This is an important meeting to show that it is important for us to dialogue. There's nothing wrong in us getting together, having a cup of tea, even if we have of different political persuasion, and discussing issues as we see them nationally and even as we see them regionally. And I think we should be given space to do that. Let me be very honest on this one.
Yes.
This is being made to look like it's a completely unorthodox meeting. But I can tell you, people are meeting whether they're from Kisii. People are meeting even from the northern region every other day, and they have discussions and have coffee. And they may be of different political persuasions. People are meeting from central Kenya every other day. Nobody follows them to figure out what they were discussing. but somehow
because there's been
a breakfast session amongst the people of Western Kenya has generated a lot of panic.
Because there's been a lot of talk about having Western Kenya to vote as a bloc, and even a movement to ensure that could this be, I mean, the initial part of this movement, you're going to work with them, or that is what people want.
But the point I'm trying to put across now is it a negative development? It cannot be a negative development.
That is
and people should not look at it as a negative development.
Yeah, and that is at the end of the day, it's for the people to decide.
Yeah.
Do you think then you can go it alone in 2017?
My friend, on a
just before the way
let me put it clearly.
Yes.
A ballot paper normally has one candidate. All right? There's no ballot paper that has 2 candidates.
Right. I'm talking about who you work
So, if it is a question of getting to the election, let us talk about that when we get there. But part of politics is building alliances and reaching out to other Kenyans so that you can work together. It's not about a situation of somebody going alone. So I want to correct this. When they say going alone, we must all remember that the ballot paper will have one name.
I'm saying that because in the recent past we've seen in this country what forms government is coalitions. And that is why I'm asking. Last election.
But last election, you're forgetting that there were 3 coalitions.
Yes, yours was also a coalition.
Correct. So under the circumstances, it's not different.
But right now you have the party. And you're not seeing you in any coalition.
And I've told you that you have not seen the full complement of the formations that will be there by 2017.
Okay, Mudavadi at Mudavadi on Twitter says Moses left, Musale left ODM over an ideology difference with Raila Odinga. He says he is now trooping back. Does he stand for any ideology?
Where does he get that from? Because that is purely speculative.
Right.
And these are the things that I'm saying about that Kenyans need to, we need to go a notch higher in terms of understanding our relationship. Politics is not about enmity. We must get above that. We can talk. We can be of different political persuasions, but we are not enemies. But
politics is also about ideologies and what you stand for.
Right.
And in 2013, you had a very different ideology from Raila Odinga. You have said you won't mind if they endorse you. And we'll see if that happens or it doesn't happen by 2017. You say that very well. But why leave such an opportunity for somebody you had differences with in 2013? What has changed?
But the question is this. Where is this speculation coming from that they will endorse me? I only said if they said they will do it, I'll be happy to get their support. But that is a different political formation. And somebody who may have disagreed with, my friend, let us go back into the recent past. Where was Kibaki and where was Raila? How did the NAC formation come into place? People of different political constituencies at that time, and they got together and they moved ahead.
Right.
So it should not be seen as an alien process here. It is something that has happened before, and people working and talking together should not be dismissed.
Okay, Ian Bugwa asked a question. He says, why does he waste time? Why does he waste his time talking about you in politics? He didn't join voluntarily. He was thrust in because of his dad, your late father, and we're sorry to make any reference to him. But the question here, and I'm sure you've heard it before, a lot of people have been talking about your personality and saying, you know, Mudavadi is a very soft kind of person. You're thrust into politics. You're not really cut out for politics. I don't know how you respond to that.
Well, do they want me to be Trump? Do they want a Trump? So that they can say that politics is perfect? Who said politics is supposed to be indecent? I think Kenyans must learn to also value decent politics. Maybe that is what is ailing us, because we tend to be used to seeing people who are abusive, people who are hurling insults, and you say that that is politics. No, my friend, it's not politics. I will never subscribe to that kind of politics. I would like to see decent politics. Let our children who go to universities and study political science look at it as a career and take it seriously. These are the messages that need to get out to our people. So it's not, and for the gentleman who is talking, the reality is I never chose my parents. So let us go beyond that. It's time to move on.
Okay, but do you think your personality works for you or against you in Kenyan politics? Because people see it as different.
I would say that if my personality did not work for me, I would not be sitting here today.
You'd not be where you are today?
With you.
Okay, let's take a look again at tweets coming in. But first I'll ask you, what is the one thing then that will be a major difference about you going to 2017? What is this one thing? What will be your campaign theme around? What is this one thing that is so different that Kenyans should look out for you and even vote for you in 2017?
I think Kenyans should look for trust. Kenyans should look for trust.
In what sense?
They should look for people who will stand by what they have said, who will be able to come forward and admit that I've made an error if it has been made, and people who will tackle the issues that we have genuinely. Unemployment is serious today. It is serious. Statistics show that 7 out of every 10 Kenyans are actually unemployed. Believe you me, today I met a friend of mine, and he says he has 10 children. The majority are graduates, and they haven't got a job.
How do you fix it? We all see that problem.
That is it.
How do you fix it?
This is broader participation of all Kenyans. Because what we are seeing now, we are seeing an entrenchment of a sectional aspect of implementation of issues. And I want to say very briefly to the listeners here that when KRA calls on you to pay your tax, KRA does not ask you whether you voted for the government or not. We are all obligated to pay tax. So we expect, and I would expect, and I would make sure it happens, that resources go to all Kenyans in a manner that is fair and equitable. So that we move away from this notion of thinking that because we won the election, we hog everything and other people should be kept out. That is a very wrong philosophy, because if the opposition people stop paying taxes today, the government will collapse.
Very briefly, some people also question why you were ready in 2013, and this is about ideologies and what you really stand for as Musalia Mudavadi. You're talking about, you're doing this for Kenyans, isn't it?
Yes.
To change this country.
Yes.
In 2013, you had your own coalition. There's the Jubilee Coalition. There was the Code Coalition. Yet immediately the Jubilee Coalition approached you to have you as their presidential candidate. You just went, you agreed to it.
My friend.
Regardless of whatever their manifesto was saying, whatever your manifesto was saying, what you believed in, what they believed in.
We are going back to what I said I would not want to look at. But politics is competitive. Coalitions will be made. And it's in a coalition document, you will always have to consider what is the reducible minimum in terms of where you want to go.
And many asking this, as we wind up, many asking this question, what do you think about what is happening to the IBC? They should be out by 30th September. What do you think is the best way forward?
I think
in appointing you,
I think the select committee has made substantive progress in trying to deal with this issue, and a lot of the recommendations they have made, if you go back into the Kriegler report, you will find they're there, which means that the outgoing commission, as it were, ignored a lot of the issues that were contained in the Kriegler report, which they were supposed to immediately take up, so that we would not be where we are today. But I want to say that the select committee has made some progress. The challenge is going to be Parliament. When the report goes to Parliament, Parliament must do its bit, and then we see the results. But I can tell you there's going to be a Waterloo on some of the areas. Let me give you an example. You see, politicians and anybody, they don't like being put in silos. All right? And I can see some of the recommendations they have put across there is that they want to try and prevent
party hopping. Do you agree with that?
If you look at how Memusi won,
in the Kajiado
by-election just the other day, I think those are issues that are going to come back on the table. And
what is the problem with stopping party hopping?
It depends on how you want to do it. All right? If you're doing it, and if what they're trying to say is that there'll be no preferred candidates, my friend, in political parties, the way they're doing it, there will be people who will find their way to angle themselves as preferred candidates. And people will be so worried about that. So that is going to be a big challenge when it goes to the floor.
Just like you, preferred candidates, like you say, and with all due respect to you, just like you being the leader or the but our party constitution says this, that the party leader is not necessarily the automatic presidential candidate. And that is a principle that I advocated for. Even when I was then leaving ODM, I said open up so that the best person within a political party, even if it is an ordinary member, but he has the credentials to become a president, let us support that. Musalia Mudavadi, party leader, Amani National Congress, thank you so much for making time for us, and we wish you the best of luck. You don't have to respond to this as I look at some tweets here. Let's have a look at them. Peter Santoni, I have never seen a Lone Ranger in politics succeeding. Musalia Mudavadi should support a candidate. Mudavadi still has lots to prove to the electorate. ANC does not sell or is not felt well on the ground, still has a long way to go. Musalia is not a bad choice for Kenyans, then only problem with him, the only problem with him is identity. You can't tell what he stands for. And it's George says Western Kenya is the face of democracy, setting the right pace for the rest of the region. And I have here, somebody says, Mudavadi, you are able. This is Jumbe Caleb. Mudavadi, you are able. Just go for it. God is with you all the time. Have the mind of Kenyans and be guided by God. And Sami Kiberenge saying, ask him why he has